Hello and welcome to Chuck's Diecast and Model Reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at this lovely model. This is the Lamborghini Countach LP 400 made by AutoArt, and this is in 1/18 scale, and I believe this is just a lovely model here. I'm also going to give you a comparison here between a good model and well, a cheap model here. Okay, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Countach, of course it was a concept car presented by Lamborghini in I believe 1972 or 74, something like that, and then it was so well received, of course, that it was brought into production. The designer of this car is Bertone, and it's one of the most iconic car designs of all time. The early versions were like this. They didn't have the fender flares that you see on, of course, the later models. There's no cheese grater stuff on the side here. The intakes here are a little more clean. And also, and I didn't realize this, but the later cars are actually a little bit taller and roomier than these original ones here. I mean, I've sat in a later model, and thank God they made them roomier, because I don't know how I could have sat in one of the smaller ones. But also the other thing, of course, is that the wheels and tires on the later models are way wider and just more insane looking than the early cars like this. These models are the early models of the Countach are known as the Periscopo models. If you'll see here, it has this sort of indentation in the roof with a slot here that was designed to have a periscope to allow the driver to see out the rear, but from what I understand, it didn't work for crap. But they put in a regular mirror, but never did change the roof line there, and they're known as the Periscopo models as a result. The engine in these was a 4-liter V12. I believe it's the same engine that was used in the Miura. And it's mounted longitudinally instead of crossways like it is in the Miura. But it is it was a pretty powerful motor for back in the day. I think it was somewhere around 300 horsepower or something like that. But of course, in modern terms, it's pretty slow. But the car itself was relatively lightweight, so it was a fast car, and was one of the fastest cars available at that time. But back to the model itself, as you can see, the detail on it is really nice. The shut lines are perfect. It's the glass is really good, really thin and very clear. You can see here that the headlights here, actually, those aren't the headlights. These are the headlights are right here. But these driving lights and turn signals here, they have the, if you can see there, they even have ribbing on them, just like the real car has. And then there are the driving lights right there as well. No mesh, but still very nicely done. You can also see here that it has pop-up headlights. So let's see if I can get these suckers to come up here. You just push this little lever here on the side, and then they pop right up, and there's your headlights. Not nearly as cool looking as it is when the headlights are down, but still, I really like that feature. In fact, that's the reason why I bought this model, is because it really was one of the only models that I could get that had the pop-up headlights. Looking underneath here, you can see the detail underneath, which is nicely done. and kind of cool to see the shift linkage and all that sort of stuff in there, so that's very nice. Okay, well, while we're at the front here, let's go ahead and take a look at underneath the front bonnet. I think I'm going to need to do it that way because it's just way tight. Like I said, the shut lines are just so tight. But you can see in there the detail under the hood, the little two little horns there, and looks like the brake reservoir. I don't even know what those red things are for. And of course the spare tire. You can even see that it has the strut. Let's see if I can get in a little closer so you can see that a little better. You can see the strut there for holding up the hood, and it actually works, so that's very cool. Taking a look at the side, you can see here the nice detail, even with the side marker lights. The door, I guess that would be the lock there. Even the Bertone badge there on the side. Wheels look very nice as well. So definitely a very good side profile. Even the window surrounds really sharp and look really good. Looking at the rear here, you can see the Countach badging on the back. The exhaust, I believe, may even be metal, and so that is really nice. I mean, you don't see that very often. Okay, but let's take a look under the hood here. First of all, these little side intakes here, presumably to get air to the carbs, are actually made of photo etch metal. So again, that's really nice. Oops. Okay. So now that we've got the hood open, let's go ahead and take a look at the engine here. There's that famous V12 motor with the 6 carbs. You can see there the plug wires and it's got 2 distributors there. And so really very nice detail again on the engine there. Really very happy with that. So there you go. Even the vents here for the heat extraction, very slim and sharp, and really nice detail there too. Taking a look at the interior, of course you got the famous gull wing doors here, and you see that they actually do spring right open. That is, if I can get in there. See, I got the first one open. There's the second one. You just push right there and then they unlatch. So very cool. And the detail on the inside again is pretty spectacular. I'm very happy with that too. You can even see the struts holding up the doors. There you can see, let's see here, let me bring it up, the shifter. You can see the gated shifter there, which I've never had a chance to try out. I don't know how easy it is actually shifting these guys or Ferraris of this vintage either, because of those gates, but very cool. And again, I'm very happy with the detail in there. That looks great. Seats, by the way, are actually not bad in terms of comfort once you get across the gigantic sill to get to the seats, and you kind of drop down into the seats. But you know, when I sat in it, it didn't feel too bad. You can see here that it does have cloth belts, so again, that is very nice detail. And so again, this model is spectacular. Now when I say I'm going to compare here and contrast, let me go ahead and show you a cheap model here, okay? Now this is a Countach. I believe it's an LP 5000 from the early mid 80s. This one is by Bburago, and I think I probably spent about $15 on this model. This is actually one of the first models I ever bought over 20 years ago. I thought it was a cool model. I thought it was really well done until, of course, I started getting higher end models. I think the first thing you'll notice between the two here, first of all, is the paint. This paint on this car is as good as you would find on a show car. On this model, you can see, it's just all orange peel. Okay, of course the detail on the headlights isn't nearly as nicely done. No pop-ups, of course. So there's one big difference there. The detail here under the hood it's there. It's just kind of funny that's all chrome, but it is there, so you got to give them credit for that. The funky thing about a lot of Bburago models is that they do not have any side glass. See there? You can put your finger right through there, right? Nothing there. So that's of course the other thing about a cheap model there. Also, you can see inside here that the seats belts are made of plastic and not very well detailed. The doors don't stay up, and again, for $15, I guess, what do you expect? I mean, at least they have a decent representation of the iconic sort of phone dial wheels that you get with the Countaches of this era, and you can get the little Disegno Bertone badge on there as well. The rear end, again, not even a comparison. The tail lights, are of course very chintzy in comparison to the taillights on the AutoArt model. And looking at the exhaust, you can just tell that they're your standard little plastic exhaust as compared to this really, really fine detailed, as I said, metal exhaust on this one. The other funky thing about this car is, of course, it has the rear wing here, but the rear wing and opens to show the trunk, which actually this one doesn't. You can see here, there's no trunk on this guy. Oh, actually, no, I take that back. There is, but the funny thing about this trunk is and the wing is it is a total piece of plastic. All of this is one single molded piece of plastic. Okay, and of course, when you take a look at the engine and this one, you can see the big difference in detail here. Sorry that the black one is kind of dusty, but you can see the difference in the engines there. The detail, of course, is much, much finer in the earlier model, although you can see this one has fuel injection as opposed to the carbs on the original model. And well, when you take a look at the interior of this model, let me go ahead and hold this open with my fingers here. Of course, you can see the detail is not nearly as good as it is on the AutoArt model, although you got to give them some credit for at least putting some decent amount of effort into the design and detail on this model because, surprisingly enough, that interior is flocked. So that's actually not bad. And the little decal there for the instrument panel, it's nicely done there too for an inexpensive model. So that's just a nice little comparison there, the difference between two vastly different grades of model. And of course, this completes my review of the Lamborghini Countach. I hope you enjoyed that, and well, you have yourself a great day. And thank you for watching Chuck's Diecast and Model Reviews.